Good morning. Mayor Dan Pope with a weekly update. Hope you've had a great week. I want to talk about budget this week. The City Council is well on our way to working through the budget for the 17-18 city year. We'll approve that budget at our meeting on September 14th. We've talked about the work sessions we've had. I want to do a couple of things. First of all, I want to point out, this is my budget stack right here. These are my binders. But if you're interested in what's going on, if you go to the city website, right on the front page, you'll see this something that looks very much like this. If you'll click on that, you can get the information in these binders. You can get the presentations that we saw that summarize it. You can also see the videos of our work sessions around budget. So. Transparent government. Actually, it's frankly pretty interesting. I would go and look at the one from the Monday, that would have been the last Monday in July, but that was the day that we spent most of that session, about 2 hours, Mr. Atkinson giving an overall executive summary of the budget. So I'm going to point out a few things about the budget that I think you might find interesting. First of all, the budget's a little more than $800 million this year. You say, well, that sounds a little bit more than last year. It is more than last year. One of the reasons it's more than last year is because we've been able to not issue as much debt. So that means we're paying cash for things like vehicles. And let me just sort of give you some stats on that. We're funding 44% of our vehicle purchases and equipment purchases with cash. We're doing 54% of our capital projects we're doing with cash. That's a change in the way we've done business. In fact, if you look at this year and what we propose to do next year, we'll do $43 million of projects using cash instead of financing them. Now, in most cases, this is cash that we had on the balance sheet. They were in our reserve funds. We're not depleting reserves below the expected levels, but we're putting cash to use. It doesn't do any good to sit on the balance sheet when we don't have a need for it. So that's something we're doing. We're also making about $4 million worth of positive changes to the health plan. I know we've talked about that in a previous video. We're combining water and wastewater into one fund. That helps us a little bit, and there's a lot of detail in that in the budget if you're interested in that. We are doing some work around our property and casualty insurance, which will save us some money. So the question comes up often, we're growing, that means tax revenues are growing. That's true, they are. Our council is pretty solid on the fact that we're not going to raise the tax rate. So the percentage you get taxed will not change, 53.8 cents per $100 of valuation. But we're still getting more revenue because of the growth in our community. There's some folks that say, well, lower the tax rate to consider that growth. And that's something we've thought about, but we're reinvesting that growth in our community. Let's share some examples. We're funding 10 new police positions. So 10 more officers on the street. We're full now. We're at 433 for the first time in, 15 years or so. We're completely staffed on our police force. We're going to add 10 more positions next year. We're also adding positions in codes. You can see our priorities behind me, and I think you'll see that we're funding what we've talked about. We're going to fund positions in codes. We're going to fund some positions in business services, the development side of things, to keep up with our citizens that want to build a home or remodel a home or develop a piece of property. We've got to move more at the pace of business for that. We're adding a couple codes inspectors, which allows us to be more proactive and less reactive. I think we're making solid investments. We're going to fund our street maintenance completely in cash. I could go on and on. You can imagine it's a sort of a stream of consciousness as I go through this. But I encourage you to go to our website and to learn more about the budget. Final thought. We've got a lot of orange cones around town. There's lots of construction projects going on. Just be careful, please. Take your time. Add a few minutes to your commute. I was out yesterday running some errands around the lunch hour, and I was out on the South Loop, and the TxDOT's working on all the service roads and the turnarounds and all. And you've seen that project going on, and I got in the wrong lane 2 different times in about a 30-minute period, and both times I put my blinker on to get in the right lane, the correct lane, and both times drivers let me in right away. And I thought to myself, how much that's like Lubbock. Our people are friendly, whether they're face-to-face or on the road. Let's not lose that as we get larger. It's important that we remain the best people in the world. And you know, when I'm somewhere and I get to talk about Lubbock, I start by saying our best asset are our 253,000 people who are the friendliest people on earth. If you live in Lubbock long enough to wear out one pair of shoes, you'll never want to leave. I'm thankful for all of you. I'm thankful for your good ideas and for your thoughts and for your prayers. I hope you have a great weekend.